The room is silent except for the hiss of static. It's March the 25th, 1998, the night everything is supposed to change. Hon-Ming Chen, the self-proclaimed prophet of God's Salvation Church, has gathered his followers. Men, women, children, all dressed in white, all staring at the television. Their eyes are vacant, their hands trembling. A spaceship is coming. God himself is going to appear on TV, and then he will take them away. For months they have left their homes, spent their life savings and prepared their bodies and souls for this moment. The world outside is nothing, their families, their past lives gone. All that remains is the promise. 12:01 a.m. The screen flickers. Nothing. 12:02 a.m. Still nothing. 12:05. The truth is beginning to set in. There is no spaceship, no divine message, nothing at all. A collective shudder moves through the room. A few members start crying. Others whisper, their voices hushed and trembling. Their leader sits in the front, staring at the screen, unmoving. The prophecy has failed, and failure is dangerous. Because cults built on apocalyptic visions do not simply walk away. Most end in fire, poison or bullets. Chen Tao was no different. It just didn't happen yet. The rise of Hon-Ming Chen. Most cults begin the same way, a charismatic leader, a vision, a following. Hon-Ming Chen was not a typical doomsday prophet. No fire and brimstone, no screaming sermons. He was quiet, reserved, an academic. Before he became a self-proclaimed prophet, he was a sociology professor in Taiwan. He studied people, their fears, their needs. He understood what they were searching for. And so he gave them something to believe in. A hybrid religion, Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, and one key ingredient, UFOs. Chen's core message was simple but seductive. God is an advanced extraterrestrial. He travels the universe in a flying saucer. He will descend to Earth and save the chosen few before the final apocalypse. His followers, mostly middle-class Taiwanese professionals, clung to his words. They weren't outcasts or criminals, they were people like you and me, except they were searching for something more. And when he told them the end was coming, they listened. Every doomsday cult needs a ground zero, a place to await the end of the world. For Chen Tao, that place was Garland, Texas. Why? Because the name Garland sounded like Godland. It was a sign. And so, in 1997, dozens of Chen's followers sold everything they had and moved halfway across the world. They arrived in Garland, an ordinary suburban neighborhood, but transformed it into something otherworldly. They bought multiple houses on the same street. They dressed in matching white outfits. They walked the streets at night, their empty stares unnerving the locals. Neighbors began to fear them. Who were these people? What were they waiting for? And then came the prophecy. Chen announced that on March 25th, 1998, God himself would appear on television at 12:01 a.m. Not just on one channel, on every channel. The world would see, the world would know. And then, soon after, a flying saucer would descend and take them to salvation. The news spread. Reporters flocked to Garland, eager to capture the moment of divine revelation or complete insanity. And then the day arrived. Inside the cult's houses, followers gathered around their televisions, breath held, bodies rigid with anticipation. The minutes crawled by. 12:01, nothing. 12:02, nothing. 12:05. Still the screen remained blank, except for the faint, ghostly crackle of static. Some members began to sob. Others looked at Chen, waiting. He said nothing. Outside, reporters waited for chaos. Would there be mass suicide like Heaven's Gate? Would there be armed resistance like Waco? Would the world wake up to a massacre? History has shown what happens when a prophecy fails. Jonestown, 1978. 918 dead, bodies bloated and rotting under the sun. Heaven's Gate, 1997. 39 corpses, plastic bags over their heads, waiting for an alien ship that never came. Would Garland, Texas be next? Chen had a choice. Other cult leaders, when confronted with their own lies, chose blood. David Koresh burned with his followers. Jim Jones whispered, "Drink the poison." Marshall Applewhite watched his people die in bunk beds, waiting for a spaceship. Chen could have commanded the same. His followers were desperate, isolated, primed for destruction. One word from him, and the streets of Garland could have become a graveyard. But instead, he admitted he was wrong. He told his people to go home, and just like that, the cult vanished. This is what makes Chen Tao so terrifying, not because of what happened, but because of what almost did. They didn't drink poison, they didn't set themselves on fire, they didn't die for the lie. But they could have. History has shown how easy it is for faith to turn to fanaticism. It only takes one moment, one man willing to push his people over the edge. And in that moment in Garland, Texas, they were already there. They sat together, staring at a blank screen, waiting for a sign that would never come. What if Chen had told them God demanded a sacrifice? What if he told them their only escape was through death? We might be speaking of the Garland massacre. A street lined with bodies, white robes soaked in blood, a gruesome cautionary tale. Instead, they simply faded. Chen disappeared. The cult disbanded. But faith like that never dies. Somewhere, someone still believes, still watches the sky, still waits.